Happy Wine Wednesday. I'm still sipping with a mug, but I've got my Chardonnay. Holly, what are you drinking? That looks like a cool blue drink.
It is. It's a vodka and lemon drink with blue curacao. That's what makes it blue color. So, and 7 Up's in there too.
Uh, Blue Crystal and what? 7 Up.
Um, Lemon juice, and I think that's it. I made it actually in the cocktail shaker the day before Christmas, but I've had a cold, so I didn't drink it all then. So it's been a while since I made it. I made one using because I was making Christmas drinks, so I made one batch that had grenadine to make it red, and one that's blue curacao.
Very cool. Well, I'm always up for trying new drinks. Zen, I see you said that the audio and video is good. That's awesome. That's one of
Mhm.
the reasons we were a little bit late tonight, guys, is we logged on and Holly couldn't hear me. And I was like, well, shit, what do I do now?
Yep,
So
seems to be
apparently we
working
fixed
now.
it. Yes, yay. So the only announcements I have is first off, I hope everyone that celebrates the holiday had a happy one. Cheers to you guys. I really hope you had a great Christmas. Looking forward to New Year's, right? Want to know what's up with you guys? Let me know in the comment section what you did, if it was wonderful, what your plans are for New Year's. Want to know. Also, unfortunately, my boss is on vacation and I'm stuck holding the bag. So I'm the big boss at work. So I have to be at work at 5 a.m. So this stream will end by like 9:30. So if you have any Seahorse questions or just want to chat about anything in particular, it is Wine Wednesday open chat. We are here just to hang with you. Ray had a hockey game he had to attend or watch, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, Ray's busy. Cheryl's busy. So it's me and Holly here with you tonight, but we're here for you. Any questions you want to talk about, anything you want to talk about, we're here for you. But we will be closing a bit early so that Kelly can get some beauty sleep. You see the bags. I need some beauty sleep, right? And I think that's all I had to announce. I do have something I need to talk about, very sad subject. But Holly, how are you? How was your holiday? What's going on with you first?
Well, I Scott and I caught a cold last week right before Christmas, so we didn't see any family or anything over Christmas. It was just the two of us. I finally started feeling better today. I was getting like no sleep. And then my internet was down all day. And then I went to the bank and the touch screen on the ATM machine wasn't working. And my
Of
cell
course,
phone
right?
barely gets a signal. If I don't have
Yep.
internet, I don't get much cell phone signal. So I was trying to deal with people needing me today on the phone and stuff. And just technology was bad today. The internet came back like at 4:30. Like that's why I was saying in the group that I might not make it because I didn't have internet and I had to send that from town because I don't have cell service either when internet's down. So I was trying to let you guys know what was going on. But internet's on, power's been off twice, but it came back on right away each time. But it was a heads up to get all the cords ready. So if I need to turn on the generator in the middle of the night, I'll be ready.
I was going to say three comments to everything you just said. First of all, everybody watching or who watches later, let me know how your holidays went because while I'm not personally sick, thank the Lord, cross fingers, I don't get it, knock on wood, I mean, everything. Um, we had a scare where my sister-in-law called us and said, um, Sean, my significant other's niece and nephew, had RSV, the new virus
No,
that's going around.
no.
And they were like, we'll make them wear masks and this and that. But it was like, we didn't want to miss Christmas. But now I'm like, if I start getting everything that happens, I'm like, ooh, does my throat hurt? oh, was that really cough a chest cough?
Mhm.
And I'm worried, and I'm really about sick of all this sickness. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like, how do you guys feel? Because I'm sick of the sickness. Ever since COVID, just been shit. We just all keep getting sick
I
over
haven't
and over
been
again.
sick since before COVID. And
Good.
I haven't had the seahorses since I've been sick. It's been that long since I had a cold or anything. So I was like, oh shit, I have to do water changes today. How is that going to be while I'm sick, having to clean their tank and do the water changes? And then I woke up this morning at my usual early time and I felt amped to do my workout and stuff. I'm like, hey, I feel better. And as the day went on, I'm just feeling better and better. So thank goodness for that.
Absolutely.
Because there were
I
a
can still
couple days that were pretty bad, like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. This cold I've had, it's all been all about congestion. Like you can't sleep at night because you can't breathe and uh
I can still hear it. I'm glad you feel better. I can
mhm.
still hear it in your voice. And like
Yeah.
with this RSV that's going around, we'll get to seahorses in a second, guys, I promise. But with this RSV going around, like I said, my niece, um, she she's like 5 and she had to go to the hospital. They had to like get her fever down to 102 because it was at like 105. I mean, it was nuts. And so, she had been a week out before we went to
Mhm.
visit and everything, but we decided not to miss Christmas
Mhm.
and we went. So, knock on wood again, cross fingers because I do not want to be sick again. I can't take it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
And
hopefully you miss out.
and like I said, because my boss is on vacation, I'm running the store, and
Mhm.
so I'm not allowed to
You
get
have
sick.
to be there.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be there sick or not. So
Oh,
yeah. And then there was I said three things, and now I've forgotten the other two. What else did you say, Holly? Gosh darn it. I got to rambling and I forgot
was
what I
it
was gonna say.
weather? I was talking about the power going out and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, I think I forgot number two, but number three was so that's really important. Again, we talk about this all the time, but being prepared for a power outage. Like in Indiana, we get power outages for sure. Somebody, most of the time with us, it's not weather. It's that some idiot hits a pole
Mhm.
and
Yep.
then
Yep.
we're down. But either way, it's happened and I've learned generators and battery operated air stones or air pumps. Sorry, um, shh, kids are coming home. Sorry, but you have a whole kit, right? You're ready for any of this stuff.
Pretty much, but I'm readier than other times sometimes because if something doesn't happen for a long time in between, like today, our power hasn't been out since last winter. Normally, we get outages during the summer because they turn it off on purpose when it's really hot and windy for to prevent fires. But that didn't happen this past summer. So we haven't had power out since last winter. And since our weather hadn't been bad or it didn't get really super hot things like that, I had moved the power cords kind of out of the way because I have power cords that run through my house too, right? So they're always laying on the floor in the way. So
Right.
I moved them, but I didn't hide them from myself. They were next to the power strip that goes to the generator. So I just had to get them out and run them and think in my mind, remember what goes to what. And so I'm ready because invariably what happens is the power goes out like at 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And then you're half asleep having to deal with the tanks and everything. So I have to be mentally prepared for how I'm going to deal with it.
Point, if you've got something going on with your internet or you've got something going on that you're worried about, get the stuff ready ahead of time, right? So that
Mhm.
if it is middle of the night, like Holly said, you can jump up and it's already ready, even if you're half asleep. Very good points. Um, Yeah, I don't remember what number 2 was. You said something really good. I'll watch it later and I'll comment or something. But yeah. Anyways, I do see Fish Fam Link. Hello. I saw Cora Works if he's still here. Good. Um, yeah. Anything else, Holly, that's been going on with you that you need to chit chat about?
Well, seahorse wise, the seahorses got their new Christmas things today. They
I
got a
saw two.
stocking filled with all the little toys and things, which I think I already showed you guys in another episode. So they're Christmas related, so I'm not leaving them in the tanks, like just for a week to kind of introduce them and let them see their things. But there's a couple things that are going to stay for winter, like the big snowflake things that they can sit in. Each tank has one of those that's going to stay for winter. And I put the snow globe in my display tank.
And
Remember the thing that
yes,
I have a
it's food.
video. I can get the video ready later in the show, when we're ready for it while we're talking. But I have a video of Sadie checking it out. It's really works great. It's got a light, so it lights up. You can turn the light on and off when you want. Which reminds me, it's like their bedtime, so I got to run in a minute and turn that light off. But Sadie was really curious about they were all curious about their new things and have already decided, oh, I like this. Dandy's already on his little reindeer. He likes it. But that
I got to
dwarf,
see the picture of Dandy sitting on his reindeer. I mean,
yeah,
that's,
I'll show
I
you
know,
the
I know a
thing.
lot of you out there, want a very natural looking tank, and that's awesome too. Most of mine are, but it's Holly's tanks are freaking amazing because you got seahorses swimming out of sharks, sitting on reindeer. I mean, ah.
They're
Anyways, go
cute
on,
and
Holly.
funny.
Yes.
So anyway, and for people that didn't see that episode, so this snow globe, basically it's a
Food.
bubbler, and
Yes.
inside of it are these little plastic pellets. Like you unscrew the bottom and you put the plastic pellets in there and screw it back, and the pellets are too big to come out the holes where the air comes out of the bubbler. It looks like a snow globe. So it's blowing these little plastic pellets around in there, and they are right about the size of a large mysis shrimp. So I was curious that the seahorses might be tricked by it. But I don't think Sadie was tricked by it. She went and sat by it and was checking it out. But I could just picture what's going through her mind is, okay, it's not trying to feed me. It doesn't have to do with food. And there's nowhere for me to hang on to it and sit on it. So what is this? Why is it here?
Oh,
So
couple things I want to say real quick. Do any of you think about what your seahorses are thinking? Because I do too. I'm just curious. And also, though, what you were saying, Holly, about Sadie figured it out. Sadie has been with you for a really long time. I
mhm,
just know I have seen newer seahorses,
mhm,
like you put a turkey baster in the tank, and if you have fed them with a turkey baster, they're going to attack the turkey baster even if there's nothing in it.
mhm,
um and I wonder how it would be with newer seahorses, right? Like that
mhm.
didn't know that weren't comfortable enough in their situation as your
Yeah,
seahorses are, that they would not understand, hey, this probably isn't food because I'm thinking it through, right?
yeah.
I don't know, I'm
Well,
just
I'll
curious.
tell you, when I first started putting new things in their tank, like for Christmas or whatever, the first time that I did it, they were shy of the things. Especially Sadie. I remember her checking out some of the Christmas things, like the reindeer antlers, which they now like to sit on. It took her the longest time to want to go like she'd watch it from far away and she'd swim to things nearby and just look at them. And the other seahorses, like Candy, her mom, who of course was older than her, took to it faster. And I've
That's something to
now,
think about. Yeah.
yeah, now when I put new things in the tank, they're used to me putting new things in the tank.
Yep.
So almost
Yeah.
immediately, within like sometimes just minutes, and usually within an
Over
hour,
it.
they're
Yeah.
over there
Yeah.
checking on it, seeing, if they want to hitch to it and hang on to it, or is it something I'm supposed to eat out of, or they know I'm giving it to them for a reason. Usually, is what their experience has been like, something nice to hold on to or something to eat out of. Well, this snow globe isn't either. I mean, it's not got anything sticking out of it for her to hang on to, and there's
Almost.
not
It's
food.
almost a tease. Yeah.
Yes, she's like, okay, why is this here? Why'd you give me this?
Right. This doesn't help me, Mom. Okay.
But
Right.
I'll share the video later. I'll find the pictures and videos of them.
I'm talking about what's going on in my tank. You can look it up. But that's. I mean it. I think it's cool that you give them new stuff. I know, like I said, I think with newer seahorses, when you first set up a seahorse tank, it's better to leave status quo, right?
Mhm.
Because they're already trying to
They're
figure you
comfortable.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're trying to figure you out. They're trying to figure their tank mates out. They're trying to figure everything out. And seahorses, I mean, think about seahorses in the wild, right? Their
Mhm.
whole mentality is hide and
Mhm.
camouflage and, don't get eaten and find food under rocks. So they have to get used to, oh, this lady or man, lots of men out there, is going to throw me food. Well, that's
Mhm.
cool. All right. And then they get spoiled eventually and then they're cool with it. But I mean, at
Mhm.
first, that's why it's hard. Sometimes seahorses, I mean, not so much with
Yes.
captive bred, but seahorses in general will just be like, who are you? What are you doing? And then you
Katie
start
used to be really
changing
shy.
things in the tank. Yeah.
And I have Facebook memories of this day a few years ago. Was it 2020, I think? 20 or 2021. That's I can't remember. So anyway, I introduced Sadie and Scrappy Doo, I had raised from Fry, and they were in my grow out tank. And when I sold the others that they were with, I moved them to the into the tank with the bigger seahorses. And Sadie was really shy. So I'm seeing in my posts from Facebook from years ago that it took her 2 days before she would come to the feeding station and eat with them. Scrappy Doo, who was smaller, he was still barely over an inch when he moved in with the big seahorses. And he learned right away to come to the food dish and eat with them. He was just a bolder seahorse. Sadie was really shy. And when I first put her in that tank, all the boys were interested in her because she was such
And
a
she didn't
beautiful.
know what to do with that.
She didn't
Right.
know
She was,
what to
yeah.
do, and she was shy. So she was hiding a lot and peeking around. And Dandy was her first friend. She finally, became friends with Dandy. And then it was really cute because she was still shy with him, but she wanted him to notice her and follow her. So she would hang out behind things or inside of things, but she'd peek out to see if he was watching her or if he was looking at her. It was so cute.
Great points because first of all, hey Chimp the Reefer. Can't I would love to talk to you on the side, see how you're doing. Love for you to jump in sometime. Glad you joined us for a minute. But Holly, great points because when you get new seahorses, or even when you've had seahorses for a minute, you will realize they have personalities. I'm
Hmm.
sure that people with any kind of fish like
Mhm.
freshwater,
Yeah.
reef tank, whatever. They have personalities. You can
Mhm.
get one clownfish that's amazingly cute and nice and comes up and kisses the glass, and then one that bites your finger off the second you.
Yeah.
So it just, you have to learn your seahorses, right? And you can train seahorses to do just about anything, but it takes a minute. So don't freak out. Like I'm thinking of Zen Ginger out there because we're gonna see a seahorse tank. I think you said February, right? I'm thinking we should do it New Year's, resolution. We should do it in January. But anyways, no pressure. And Zen's gonna jump in here and show us when she sets up that tank. But anyways, I'm just saying there might be some times where she or anyone out there, you guys, are like, I don't understand. They're not swimming up to me like your seahorses do. They're not like excited when I feed the tank. What's going on? Number one, it takes a minute for them to
Mhm.
learn you and get used to you. And number two, Holly just described, back to number one. Holly just described where, the shy seahorse came out of her shell and now she's sitting at the globe going, huh, what's this? But she's not
Mhm.
scared. And
Mhm.
then also there are just personalities where they're just not super friendly, and just getting them getting used to each other, getting used to you, all that makes a big difference. And you shouldn't freak out if they're not like super social right at first, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then once you get to know them, then if all of a sudden they're not social, you'll know there's something wrong, right? Their
Yeah.
personalities are huge. But go on, Holly. Were you still
Yeah,
talking?
you
I'm
get
sorry. I
to
kind of cut.
know each other over time. They get to know you, you get to know them, and they do become tamer. They get used to you. Um, my friend Heather, it was great. Her seahorses, she worked with them, training them to make them tame. So she had seahorses that would come and hitch, on her fingers and want to hold on to her when she put her hands in the tank. And that was really cute.
Um, so I don't know what the joke was. Ray said something. There was a joke. I don't know. Anyways, you guys, I can't keep up. I'm so tired. I literally worked a 12-hour shift today, so I'm like
Mhm.
exhausted. So excuse. I think I just did a. I'm going to tell you three things, and then I told you one. I'm sorry. It is what it is, right? It's
That's
Wine
okay.
Wednesday. And again, guys, if you have anything you want to discuss, whether it's seahorse related or otherwise, put those questions in the comments because we will be ending um, sooner than usual tonight. Holly, I would say, why don't you go find that video and I'll go
All
ahead
right.
and. But can you still hear me while you're
Yeah,
looking?
I'm just gonna
Okay.
turn off my camera and mute so I'm not playing videos blasting while you're trying to talk.
But
Because I have
just
to go
keep
to my Facebook and find them.
keep listening though, because I want your
I
thoughts.
will.
Like I'm gonna tell this story, and frankly, I don't have the answer. And Ray's not here tonight, and Cheryl's not here tonight, so we'll bring it up next week, of course. But it's just happened, so I'm gonna talk about it. And any thoughts you have, I would love to hear. But go ahead and find your video, and
All
I'll
righty.
send in chat. Okay, so for anyone out there that does have anything bad happen in their seahorse tank, this is a story for you because sadly, I lost a seahorse, right? Supposedly the seahorse whisperer, right? I do everything right, right? Well, that's not true, first of all. I come on here constantly and I say, what's going on? Why is this happening? And my fellow community members will tell me, hey, this, that, or the other, and I'll fix it. I did have the advantage of having Dan from Seahorse Source as a mentor and Felicia McCauley from Biota as a mentor. And so I've got a lot of information, but the whole point to this story is that shit happens, right? So I'm telling this story because I'd love to have advice from anyone out there, or Ray, Cheryl, or Holly. And also, just so if something happens to you, you got to understand shit happens, right? With seahorses. Okay, so I have 2 tanks of seahorses right now. I used to have multiple species and tanks and everything. COVID, my mom passed, whatever. I'm currently with 2 tanks of seahorses. I have 4 seahorses in a 65-gallon, which is fine, but it's terrible. I don't it's a lot of algae, and so I don't post pictures and such, but everybody's fine. In the all-in-one that I set up, recently to prove that you could keep seahorses in a smaller tank, I want to be very clear, I overstocked it. Okay. So if it comes down to, oh, there was too many seahorses in the tank, then that was my fault. You can absolutely, I have proved, do an all-in-one tank with a pair of seahorses. 40 gallons, 2 seahorses, you're going to be fine. I put 5 seahorses in. So let's just be clear about that. Um, and so, anyhow, I had 2 seahorses from Ocean Rider, a male and a female. I had 2 seahorses from Vincent, a male and a female. And I had a female from Holly, Aphrodite. Everybody's fine. Everything's going well. The other day, I came home from work and my male from Ocean Rider, not that it matters, I don't know that it matters, but he had passed. I lost the seahorse. There was no the weird part about it, and that's why I'm so upset that Ray's not here tonight, because I was hoping I love Ray because he'll tell you how it is. He'll be like, "Look, you did this." And I like that because I don't want somebody to say, "You did everything right. This stuff happens." I want to know what I did wrong so I don't do it again, right? So I don't mind him, we'll do it next week. He'll tell me how it is and I'll, whatever. But anyways, there was nothing. Like you guys have seen in previous episodes, there were times where I'd be like, they don't like to eat off the floor. Maybe that's something. I don't know. But I would make sure they all got fed. I made sure they all ate. They all ate. That I literally had no notice. There was no him not eating. There was no him sulking in a corner. Like any of the symptoms you see when a seahorse has a bacterial infection or what, like nothing's been added to the tank, nothing's changed. It doesn't make sense to me. So this is why I'm curious to talk with you, Holly and Ray and Cheryl, because I'm just wondering if it's like he's not that old. I mean, I've only had him a couple of
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
So I just am kind of lost on this. I'm sad about it,
Mhm.
of course. And I'm kind of putting it out there just so people can see it happens to the best of us.
Mhm.
I did have an overstocked tank. Maybe that's it. But usually when you have an overstocked tank or you have, organics problems or water quality problems, usually you'll see seahorses deteriorate, right? They'll start
Mhm.
darker, not eating, sulking in corners, like I said. There's just signs that I've seen multiple times. In this case, there was nothing. I had literally done a huge water change 2 days before. I
Mhm.
came home from work and here's another point that I will bring up next week when we talk with Cheryl and Ray too, is that when I found, and if this bothers anybody, just let me know. I'll stop talking. Sorry. But I want to know answers to help somebody else, right? And it bothers me. And he was passed with his snout wide open, like wide open, like
Mhm.
stuck open. Have you seen that, Holly?
No, I haven't. I've had a few pass fairly suddenly, and my thoughts on it were they had an internal bacterial infection that I couldn't see all along, and like you said, they were deteriorating inside. I couldn't see it on the outside and didn't
Yeah.
know. Now, I do remember, I think last week you mentioned to me that he wasn't eating, or did you lose him right after that? Or
Yes.
had he just missed like a day or two and then he passed like that quickly?
Actually, that was not the one that wasn't eating. So maybe there's a problem in the tank, right? Because it was the other male that wasn't eating.
I thought you said though it was the Ocean Rider male. Are
Confused.
you
It's
sure?
possible.
That's
It's possible.
remember it. But I've had some that deteriorated very quickly. And usually though, it's once they lay down, they're not going to make it. I figured out. And
Now,
they usually pass away within a day or 2 to 3 after that.
lay down.
Like if I see them, like if because I have there, and there's a
Wait, wait,
difference.
wait. Let me say something real quick. My significant other just walked through. For anybody watching, this is a terrible topic, and I'm so sorry. I'm
Hmm.
I'm sharing my sad experience so that someone later can learn from it because of my
Hmm.
mistakes. But there's a good ending. My significant other just walked through and said, they're mating in there. But go on. Go ahead. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
So anyway, yeah, I've had so many seahorses now over the past few years, through raising them, that there's things that I notice, and there's things the longer you have them,
Hmm.
you'll start to know what's normal for your seahorses and the individual seahorses and what's not. And now, if I see a seahorse, my seahorses like to lay down and sleep. All of them except for Sadie. They lay down when they sleep, which is not normal.
No, it's not.
It's
No,
normal
it's
for
not.
them.
Right, right.
However, they hitch. They sleep with their tail wrapped around something and hitch and sleep laying down. If I see a seahorse laying down, breathing hard, and not hitching, that's a sign I'm going to lose them. I figured out. And if I can't put them in the hospital tank, it doesn't matter. They are on their way out. I figured out in my case, that means they're dying at that time. I don't know if it means the same in anybody else's tank because, like I
Right.
said, you kind of get to know them. At that point, I've learned in my case, they're not savable. And at that point, usually it takes them between a day to 3 days to pass naturally.
Hmm.
Now, I haven't had any just suddenly drop dead and pass, like mouth open and all that. Usually it takes them at least a day. So yours was just all of a sudden dead
Now
then.
that you said that, maybe I'm mistaken, right? Like I've got a lot going on, you guys. So Holly just said he was the one that I told you guys was not it was being picky about eating last week. All of
Mhm.
them were eating, but I
Mhm.
do remember like a couple of them I'd have to like they eat for a second and then
Mhm.
they'd go hitch somewhere. And I'd be like, "No, there's food. Come on." And I kept
Mhm.
asking in the previous weeks, do you guys think it's the floor?" Because I've
Mhm.
just noticed they don't really like to eat off the floor. They want it in circulation. And there was stuff growing on the floor, right? It's an all in one tank, it's small. So I'm constantly scrubbing it, constantly trying to keep it clean, but stuff settles and grows and, biosphere. Like, but that doesn't make sense to me. And we've talked about it endlessly. But like, their seahorses come from algae filled, you know, they
Mhm.
love that stuff. So it never really made sense to me. But okay, so I'm rambling. Sorry. None of the seahorses seemed to, the past few weeks, like to eat off the floor. Actually, they
Mhm.
didn't like to, period. They don't seem to like to eat off the floor. If
Mhm.
I take a turkey baster and spruce it up and make it, go in the air, in the water, not air, then they'll snick it and no problem. This seahorse now that I'm putting two and two together, as Holly said, it was the seahorse that I noticed was just being pickier about food. So that should have been a sign that I noticed, right? But I just kept asking about why aren't they eating right? Anyways, here's what's happened. I don't have an answer for you. I can't wait to talk with Ray and Cheryl next week. But basically, I came home from work, the seahorse passed, mouth wide open. I really want to know what that means because I have pictures. I won't post them because I don't want to offend anybody. But it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. Like it was so odd to me. Like if passed or if whatever, I would think it was an oxygenation issue for him to. I mean, his mouth was wide open. I'll
Mhm.
stop talking about it. But it just really bothered me. I don't have any. I want an answer. That's why I'm bringing it up. And what's odd is, as Holly said, sometimes if a seahorse just is fine for years, nothing new is added, there's no explanation. All of a sudden, one seahorse starts acting funny and within a couple days is gone. It's an internal thing. And we don't really ever get an answer unless you want to pay big bucks to go get, somebody to test the seahorse and whatnot, which I know, I mean, I could send it to Graham, I guess.
Mhm.
But my point is, since that seahorse left the tank, the three others are crazy happy. Like, and I know that
Oh,
sounds so bad. That sounds so
I'm
awful.
sorry. I mean, I'm sorry
No.
he passed, but
Yes. Yes. No. And I'm thinking maybe, I mean, he was kind of a bully, and I
mm,
didn't want to lose him by any means. I didn't want to lose him. But since he passed, like the other four are crazy, frisky, all over the tank, like so active, so all
mhm.
over each other. So that's why I really wanted to bring it up, and I will next week with Ray and Cheryl, because I know that Ray's going to say, "You got a water quality problem." That's
Mhm.
I could, do his I could, but he's going to say that, and I wouldn't say he was wrong because it's a smaller tank that I have overstocked, right? And I've had
Mhm.
problems with it that I've discussed here on One Wednesday. I'm here to always admit when I make mistakes because that's how I help you guys not make mistakes, right? Don't put that many seahorses in an all in one tank ever. But because of the water changes I was doing and the observation I was doing, I thought I was okay. I did lose the seahorse. Obviously, I wasn't okay. But since then, the others are so crazy happy. It's weird. It's
They're
really weird.
celebrating. Oh,
No, I don't say that, Holly. Oh my
oh,
God, don't
that's
say that.
horrible.
Don't say that. Yeah.
Well, they are
Uh,
seahorses, not people. You'd
truth.
have to ask them how they feel about the situation. I mean, if he was a bully, maybe they're thinking, "Oh, what a relief."
Yes, and I would. Oh, Ray's watching. Ray, I wasn't making fun of you. I was saying how smart you are and how you'll call me on my shit, which I like, by the way. But no, it's just interest. If I get Fry, like within the next month, that will be really interesting to me. That would tell me that sometimes if you're not getting Fry,
Mhm,
it's and I'm not saying I don't think that seahorse was diseased. I think
mhm,
I don't know what I think. I don't know why he passed. I want advice. I want your thoughts, Ray, Cheryl, Holly, anybody. But I think it was just one of those quirk things. Like something happened with him, right?
mhm,
Because if someone came to me online and said, "Oh my gosh, my seahorse just passed suddenly. He apparently stopped eating a couple days ago, or was eating finically, like he was
mhm,
eating but only a couple pieces, and then he'd swim away, and then he passed." My instant reaction would be, "Okay,
mhm,
we need to check water quality. We need to, possibly hospitalize and hospital tank and all this other stuff." But in this case, the other seahorses are acting so frisky and better and happy that I can't imagine that there's something bad in the tank, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I see Ray, I
Might
see your
be just
comments. I'm
having
trying to
some
read them,
room. Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm thinking, and maybe it still does boil down to water quality. I'm in an all-in-one, so the
Mhm.
skimmer's not the best. Um, you know, I'm lazy, so I could do more water changes than I do. Um, I'm willing to take the heat if it's something like that. But it just would be odd to me that only one seahorse would all of
Mhm.
a sudden up and, not be okay, and
Yeah.
the others all of a sudden be so happy. It's
How
so weird.
many males did you have to females? What was your ratio?
Two males, three females.
Oh, you cut out right there. What was it again?
Sorry. I had two males, three females. So now I have one male, and
No
they're
wonder they're
all
so
just,
happy.
I know, I know. Well, he's
That's
happy.
like my tank now because I have one male in my tiki tank. I have one male and three females, and they're all taking turns, and they all hang out together. And I'm wondering if there was competition, and so there was more tension before he passed.
Oh, that I found it odd. Again, guys, we have to call Kelly on the fact that I had an overstocked tank. I keep saying that because please, you guys don't do it. It causes problems. You're seeing that. Um, but to me, that I never saw fry with two pairs and an extra female. I've just never had a tank like that with young seahorses. Like Holly, your seahorses aren't really that young anymore, right? I mean,
Not
right,
anymore. No.
right. So when you have an older tank of seahorses, they're gonna just chill, relax, vacation, retire, and have a nice life in your tank. But when you got the youngins and they're not breeding, or even, like, that's just odd to me.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me what your experience is. Anybody with seahorses, right? In my experience, that's odd to me.
Mhm.
And so when this Ocean Rider pair that I got didn't breed, it was odd to me. That's why I added Holly's
Mhm.
female.
Mhm.
And then they didn't breed. And then I added the two from Vincent, and they didn't breed. And Vincent's seahorses are horny little shits, right? Like, I mean, now that this Ocean Rider male's out of the tank, they're going crazy. I'll be surprised if I don't have fry. They're all over each other. I mean, it's pretty nuts. So I don't know what that means. Like Ray
Mhm.
said, that he's still watching back, but he has no idea the cause of the seahorse death. From the little that I know, right? I don't know anything. I don't know what to say. And when we do figure it
Mhm.
out, this is what we're here for, right? We're a community. I'm going to admit when I do something wrong or when something bad happens because that helps you guys, right? In the future. Um, it may be like human species, some die young with no previous sign of problem or and need to autopsy to determine cause.
Mhm.
Well, I'm really seriously thinking about doing that, right? Because I
Mhm.
do know Graham Short. I'm really thinking about like
Mhm.
seeing if he can sneak it into one of his studies or something. Because I don't want to
Mhm.
pay for it. I'm cheap, but I would love to find out what happened
Mhm.
because the fact that none of the others are having any symptom of they're happier is is
Yeah,
very odd to me. I've never had this happen to me
that
before.
cracks me up.
I've never lost a seahorse and then the
Mhm.
rest of the tank like rejoice. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
right? I know, that's what's cracking me up. I'm like, "Oh, man."
I know. And I'm not being offended. I just yeah, I don't know. And I'm so sad, I don't ever want to lose a seahorse
Mhm.
ever. But it's just odd. And again, Ray, since I know you're still watching, that's my big key thing. I want to know
Mhm.
why a seahorse would die with its mouth. wide open. And I can send you the pictures if you
Probably
want. I
mid
just don't want to post
gas.
them. Mid,
I mean, I've seen them when they are passing and they're having trouble breathing, they'll open their mouth real wide like that. So maybe it's just not normal for them to pass during that breath. So maybe he just happened to pass when he was doing that.
and what? And freeze? I don't know. Here's the thing, though, Holly.
Mhm.
I promise you. Listen, I know everybody goes online and says, "Here's my problem," and then they backtrack and they're like, "But I didn't do this. I didn't do that."
Mhm.
I'm telling y'all, I
Mhm.
overstocked the tank, so my
Mhm.
fault. But he was he wasn't having trouble breathing.
Mhm.
From me noticing that they all didn't like to eat off the floor. And then
Mhm.
you mentioned that I was saying that I don't even remember that, but he was
Mhm.
not wanting to eat, period. That's it. That was the only sign.
Mhm.
Oh, Ray said just relaxation upon death. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
like
Then
when they're
why have
their last breath.
none of my other seahorses in the past passed that way? Like,
Maybe just chance. I don't know. None of mine have either that I've noticed. I had one female a long time ago that passed suddenly, but most of them, I could tell like that day or a few days before. It took them like a couple days to go usually.
and even with them being finicky about eating, and I will tell you, I scrubbed the shit out of the floor, and then they all started eating fine, including that male. Like,
Mhm.
they all ate a huge meal,
Mhm.
and then I went to work, and I came home,
Mhm.
and he was passed. It was so
Huh.
odd to me. I just don't know what to think. I'm very sad. I'm sorry for bringing everybody down. Here's my holiday cheer. Let's talk about a passing seahorse. I'm so sorry. But
Uh,
this this
so
is the
Ray's
point, is
had
that
them
we
pass all the ways, open and closed and partially open. Yeah. So I think it's just chance that we've never seen that before.
okay. I'll take that. But we'll dive into it next week, Ray, because I don't want to keep talking about such a sad topic when we're in the middle of Christmas and New Year's Eve, and I'm like bringing everybody down. Sorry, guys, but I do want this to help others in the future. Somebody comes and watches this in the future, and sees that even someone who's kept seahorses for years, stuff just happens, right? And sometimes I don't even know what happened, and
Mhm.
symptoms, if you've added something to the tank and then something happens, or if there are obvious symptoms like they all start acting funny and hiding and not eating and etc., then there are different steps to take, like hospitalization, treatment. As Holly said, once you get to know your seahorses, sometimes you just know it's their time, there's no point, whatever. In this case, I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming, and it's pretty surprising to me to see how healthy and happy the seahorses are acting now. That
Right?
this one is missing. That's really a weird side effect.
Yeah.
Um,
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen my seahorses celebrating when another seahorse passed.
to make it sound like that, I just
That-
mean that they're from Vincent. You know what I think it was, to be real? I think that the male from Ocean Rider that I've lost was very dominant. You will notice a
Mhm.
hierarchy in the tank. And I
Yeah,
think he ran the tank, and this male from Vincent kind of didn't want to like
intrude.
I'm making it sound like gangs and stuff. It's not that deep. But I'm just saying he didn't want to be too dominant, because then that would cause them to do the wrestling and snicking and crazy stuff that I posted videos
Mhm.
about that they can and will do. So I think that now that he realizes that that seahorse is no longer in the tank. I don't think he's celebrating that the seahorse is gone. I think
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm the man now, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. So, but whatever. I would like to investigate it further on a future episode and dive into, the things that I've done wrong so people can learn from them. And I am, I'm very sad. I'm not like going to cry or anything live, but I'm not trying to minimize this because I was
Mhm.
very upset when I found him passed. But somebody keeping seahorses for years, stuff just happens
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Buy from a captive breeder, someone you trust, buy healthy specimens, observe constantly so that you know when signs are coming. And like now, if my seahorses weren't acting all happy, thrilled,
Mhm.
and eating like pigs, I would take
Be worried
different
for
steps.
yeah.
Yes, I would take different steps for them. I think this was something to do with him, and I don't know what it is, but sometimes
He
stuff
could have
happens.
had something wrong genetically from the beginning. He could have already had some kind of defect that he was just surviving with all this time.
I said all along, I
Interesting
don't
the
understand.
dynamic going forward, what happens with the one male and the three females.
Yeah, I
If he
know.
chooses one, or if they're all see, mine aren't producing fry. They're just having fun.
Right,
And
I
they've
get it.
been like that since they were juveniles. For some reason just nobody has ever really paired up, and I'm not sure if it's maybe
Well,
for
you and
that
I,
reason because there's always been more females than males. So maybe the males are just trying to get with all males and they're not that serious about the situation. I don't know. So I'm
we'll
curious
see
to
what
see what.
happens. Yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens. And you and I have had the conversation that when you buy seahorses, even from a trusted breeder, you don't know um, the generation you're buying, right? I really think, and people will argue with me about this. People will say seahorses 6 generations in will still produce fry, but in my personal experience, the further you go down in generations, the less they produce, right? They
Mhm,
just, I don't know, not to. I don't know. But
mhm,
I'm curious too, Holly. We'll just have to pay attention and see what happens because I don't know. Maybe the male will, you know, pick a female and give me some fry, or maybe he'll just flirt with them all and be like, "Hey, this is awesome. I'm a
yeah,
bachelor." Who knows?
yeah,
We'll find out. And maybe I was already talking about splitting them off and adding other seahorses to see what happened there. So we'll
mhm,
we'll experiment some. But again, I just wanted to, let you guys know truthfully what happened, and we'll investigate and try to figure it out. But again, shit happens to all of us. It just
mhm,
happens and it sucks, but you can't give up on seahorses because something bad happens. You just have to look at what's happened. Again, I'm coming here to our community, asking others that maybe are smarter than me or have had more experience than me, what do you think? And in my case, currently, I think the fact that the rest are still eating healthily, not darkening, not acting funny, I think it had to do with just that seahorse. Again,
mhm,
if you lose a seahorse and the others are also acting the same way, maybe being finicky about eating, darkening, hiding, not being as friendly, then we need to talk about what steps to take there. But
mhm.
I just wanted to bring up the topic, so you know, telling you guys what happened and trying to figure it out. Did you find your video, Holly?
I did, yeah.
Let's get on to a happier topic.
All right. So this is going to be Sadie investigating her new snow globe here.
Because I've been looking for one. I didn't find one, but I want one.
I got the last one at the PetSmart near me, and honestly, they didn't have them the first time I went looking, and they were out on the online. So I think somebody had returned it. Is how I got mine. They come
Gotcha.
out
But wait,
these
wait, wait.
things quite early.
Okay, before I play this, I want to say, Shyla, I did see you, and
Yeah,
I
it's
I
good to
showed
see
you, but
Shyla again.
I know Shyla's back. I did see you, but I was rambling about my seahorse. So glad you're back. Tell me where you've been, what's been going on, if you're okay. Tell me what's going on with you with your seahorses. We got to connect. But I did want to let you know I see you, and I'm so glad you're here. All right, now I'm going to play your video, Holly. Go ahead.
Yep. So here we go. So here you can see she's just sitting next to it, just looking at it like, what is this thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and look at that.
Isn't that cool? See the little balls inside? Those are little
Yes.
plastic balls, like a ping pong ball, but tiny. So yeah, she just went and sat next to it and watched it. But I can just see it. She's looking at me, now and then she looks at the thing, and then she looks away. She's just like, what is this? What do you expect
I
me to
see
do
her.
with it, Mom?
No, I mean, like, literally, people think seahorses aren't that smart. Watch her. She's
Yep.
investigating how it works. She's like, okay, I see the bubbles going up. All right, I know what
Yeah.
bubbles are. I can see, but what are the things in there? Mom, what is this? But she's like,
Yeah.
I get what's going on. And she sees, look at her. I mean, she's so smart.
Yeah, I
She's like,
think
I
she's
get
just
it,
thinking,
but I
what
don't
is the
get it.
point of this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to
right.
stop
Right.
this and find you another one. So I have some
Right.
more.
She's like, I know you gave this to me. Why? What is this for? How is
Right?
this helping me? Right.
So I'm going to look. I'm going to, I think I should probably mute just in case something has sound. So I'm going to look for a minute and
Okay.
get the next one ready. So you can talk about whatever and I'll find another one.
And I got nothing to talk about, you guys. No, I'm just kidding. You guys know I can ramble on forever. But did anybody have any questions not related to anything we've talked about? Anything seahorse? Anything water quality? Oh, I got something I can talk about. So, what do you guys do over Christmas? Making a batch of salt water, and one of my wonderful teenage daughters bumped into said bucket with water and knocked over my refractometer. The top came off.
Oh, no.
I need to know, is the measurement still accurate if you have to take the plastic piece and literally put it on the top and hold it down? Is that still accurate, or does the swing hinge pressing it down make the measurement more accurate? Did that question make sense? Like, so I'm saying, if the plastic piece came off, can I just slap it on there? I can still see the PPI, is that what it's called? I can still see what the salinity is, supposedly, but I'm asking you guys, is that correct? Or does it have to be
So
put
you're
together to work?
using a
Hmm.
refractometer, not a
Yeah.
hydrometer, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. See, I can't tell you, I don't use one because I got one. I've been using hydrometers forever, right? Well, I got a fancy refractometer, and then I was reading the directions and I figured out when you're calibrating, there has to be a temperature match. It's been like a
Yes.
year or something since I've done it.
Yeah.
Nothing matches temperature in my house. It's going to be hard for me to do it because waters don't match temperatures in my
Well,
house.
I can answer that question if you do have a like Holly's situation with a
Mhm,
refractometer or refractometer, however you say it.
mhm.
The key is calibrate it to wherever you're at, right? Then when you test your water, let it sit for at least like, a
Mhm,
minute.
mhm.
Read the instructions online, but the key is to let it sit so it gets to the temperature where you were when you first calibrated, if that makes sense.
Yeah, is the problem is because the air, I think, and it's been so long since I think I got it during
Wait,
summertime.
while you talk, I'm gonna go grab mine. So I'll show you guys what I mean as it's broke. Chimp, stay around for just a second. Go ahead, Holly. Talk.
Okay, so I can't remember what it was, but I think I got it like in the summertime, I believe. And there's like close to a 20-degree difference between the air in my house and the water in my tank because I use chillers. And it just, I don't really remember what it was, but I remember something about getting the two temperatures to match to calibrate was pretty difficult. So I don't even remember what it is, like as far as what it looks like and what piece is what. I'd have to go get mine and look at it, and I really don't know right where it's at.
No problem, no problem. I just wanted
I
to
did
show
find
Chimp.
another video though, so when we're done talking about the calibration, I have
Yes.
another video
Yep,
saying,
yep. Give me 10 seconds.
do you
So
have
Chimp,
it in hand?
yes,
You're
in my hand.
okay, so
All
maybe
right.
now I'll see what you're talking about.
So ignore the fact that it's dirty, but
Oh,
this is
looks
what
just
I'm
like
saying.
mine.
So literally the piece right here
Oh.
broke off. And I can't even find it at this point, but I did find it when I was making water. And so what I was doing is I was still dropping
Uh-huh.
the water on here, right?
Mhm.
And then what I would, and this would just be sitting there. I
I
drop the
think
water on,
all it
and then I
does
would
is
take, hang
push
on,
it
hang on.
down though, right?
It does, but I would take the plastic piece, put it on, read
Mhm,
it, and then I'd be good. But here's the thing, I couldn't find the plastic piece earlier when I was
mhm,
thinking about telling you guys about it. And so I was testing my water just for fun, not fun,
mhm.
but just testing my water and
And you
trying to
went
like
with it.
think about what I would talk about on the show. And the
Mhm,
thing is, nothing else works. Something about that plastic piece. And if you
oh,
if I had it in my hand, I could show you one side smooth, the top smooth, it just looks like a plastic piece. But the
mhm.
bottom side is like it's got a indentation groove kind of
For the
thing.
wa it holds
It's
the water.
rough.
Yeah,
It's rough.
I
Okay.
remember.
So my point is, if I have actually lost that piece because I can't find it right now, can I
Mhm,
use anything else? Or do I just got to buy a new one? I need to just buy a new one. I get it. But if someone is in this situation, can they use anything else as that top piece?
mhm,
And is it even working if it's not connected, right? Because this thing's odd.
mhm.
Like it doesn't just go up and down, it goes kind of like in, if that makes sense. Like I don't know how to
I
put it.
I agree
When
with
wait, hang on,
shiny
hang on, hang
oh,
on.
it's just to hold the water down.
It is, but again, the bottom side that presses against the water is rough. I don't know if that matters or not, but
Why,
I
yes.
couldn't get anything else, plastic or anything, to work. Anything else I placed over top of it, I couldn't read the measurement.
Uh-huh.
And if you
Interesting.
have one of the hang on, if you have one of these, what I mean by this is this piece obviously just goes back and forth, right? But
Mhm.
when it has the plastic piece connected, it's like a weird, like the plastic piece will be here, right? It's up like this, plastic piece here. And then when you place it down, it's like almost a in and out.
I'm still here. I'm gonna see if I can find mine right
If
here because
anybody
I was
knows what I'm talking about, let me know. And my main question is, obviously I'm just going to buy a new one. But if anyone was in this situation and couldn't buy a new one, is there anything else you could use to just be able to read the measurement? And if I still had the plastic piece,
I
is
see
that
what you
still
mean.
is
It's
that
got a
still
hint.
yes. Is that still reading the measurement correctly? So, Chimp, answer all the questions. That's all. And yeah, so I'm just investigating everything because of what's going on in my tank. But definitely, that's a scary thing to me, not to be able to measure salinity, because seahorses can handle a little up and down with that. But you're making water, you don't know, and that just it kind of makes me nervous.
Yeah,
So
I'm wondering if that rough is to kind of cut the light somehow
maybe
so that the numbers show up when you're looking through. I can't
that's
see
what I was
anything.
saying. Is I
Like I said,
tried.
I haven't used mine in like over a year because it was the temperature thing. The directions of how to calibrate. I think it was like a 20-degree difference between my tank water and the air in the house. And that's why I'm like, oh, this is going to be real fun. So I just kept using the hydrometers and I haven't had any issues
See,
with the hydrometers.
I've never had luck with hydrometers. I have
I
taken
have
a
multiple
hydrometer.
ones.
I've taken a hydrometer, tested the water,
Mm-hmm.
again, different result. Tested it again, different result. And that damn aren't swinging. Oh no, I don't like
I've had to
hydrometers.
fix
Mm-mm.
that swinging arm. Scott's fixed mine for me. I had one that came out and he was able to get it back in there. And
Jeez.
I've got like 4 of them and generally they read the same. I had one once that didn't work and I took it back, but the other ones seem I and I'll double check. Like if something seems off, I'll check with another 2 of them to see
Yeah.
if it's right or if it's just off. But usually my saline because of the way I mix everything's the same.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
I don't really have like wide swings of salinity. So
Well,
I trust them pretty much since I have so many to double check.
right. In my case, though, you have to remember in a smaller tank, I'm doing more top off, right? And yes,
Mhm.
the argument could be made, well, if you're really careful and you have like a line in black permanent marker on your tank where you know where to top it off to, whether you're talking about an all-in-one or sump or whatever, then everything's going to work out. Okay, but it doesn't always work out for me. I
Well,
don't
it
know
doesn't
why.
apply though when you're siphoning because you're
Right.
removing salt water by sucking it out. So it's not necessarily below the line because it evaporated. It might
Right.
be because you removed some of that water. Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, and seahorses can handle that. It's not a huge deal. I siphon if the all-in-one. Okay, so if the sump's too low and the skimmer's acting up, I'll just add some distilled or RODI water. If the all-in-one is, the pump's spitting out bubbles because it's too low, I'll just add some RODI water. The seahorses are fine. It's not enough RODI water to like change the salinity to the point where it would affect them, but then when
Hmm.
I go to do a water change, I try to bring it back to where I want it to be, right? So
Yes.
that's why I
Hmm.
care about the accuracy. So Chimp the Reefer, sorry, reader, said not connected. I'd assume it's still working correctly. Not sure what you could use to replace it. That's what I'm curious about. I'd love for somebody to explain how the refractometer works, because I bet Holly's right. I bet that roughness is actually about the lighting, because anything else I tried to use to, smush the water and read it did
Didn't
not work.
work.
Did
Yeah.
not work.
Gotta be
And
something.
Zen Ginger is making fun of me and saying they're 15 to 20 bucks, Kelly. Just get
Yeah,
a new
just
one. Absolutely. I get you. I'm with you. But here's the thing, Holly has one she's not using, and it's
yeah.
Christmas, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I have no problem going and buying a new one. I'm just asking for someone like when I was in that situation and I couldn't find the plastic piece, because putting the plastic piece on was working as far as I knew. But then when I couldn't find it, I was eh, like I'm not
Yeah.
as accurate as Holly. I have measurement cups, but I'm just, sometimes the salt's a little overflowing in the cup. Sometimes it's not. I'm not real
Yeah.
careful. So I use these testing kits and, refractometers and stuff to make sure that I'm not way off. There's plenty of times that I've made a bucket of water and I've been like, holy
Well,
shit, I need to add
sometimes
more.
I forget, like, how many cups did I put in that? Did I put 2 cups or
Right.
did I put just 1? And then I have to check the salinity to find out.
So if someone has 15 to 20 bucks, but is in a situation where it's Christmas and nothing's open and you can't go buy a new one, then what do? That's where I'm at, Zen. Try to
Well,
stay
yeah,
with
because
me.
you need to then you gotta wait for it to come.
Right.
You know,
Or
you don't
leave a
have one in the
store open.
meantime. I
Okay,
hear you.
so I'm acting like this is a funny story. It's actually my story because this is what happened. It was Christmas and I couldn't test my salinity. And yeah, okay.
That's the
Anyways,
kind of thing that happens to me. That's
yeah. So, just curious, anybody who watches this later, what do you do if that plastic piece breaks? Are you done? Do you just go get a new one? Or do you just like me keep trying to flop it on there? And
Or you
then when
do
you
like
lose the
me and you have
plastic piece,
multiples of everything because you know yourself and you know you're gonna lose
listen,
something or break it, so
no,
I better have 3 of them.
I give absolute kudos to people like you and Cheryl. That's what Cheryl always says. I've contacted Cheryl before and said, "Oh my gosh, Cheryl, my skimmer's going crazy. It's like I don't even know how to fix it." And she, blah blah blah, and she'll figure it out. She'll be, "Oh, this part's broke. Okay, well just grab
Yeah.
another one." What do you mean grab another one?
Yeah,
I
like you have a
want another
garage
one.
full.
So,
No, I have multiples of some things, but not everything. And I'm thinking, I need to have an extra skimmer. I need to have an extra big pump that goes in the sump just in case, because I don't have extras of those things. And the reason why is because they're so darn expensive.
right, they are expensive, and I will say, like I've had multiple tanks, so you would think that I had all this extra equipment, and I actually do, but all of my tanks were different, right? Like I had tanks with sumps, tanks without sumps, different sizes. So yes, I do have a massive skimmer. I could throw in a smaller tank if I needed to, but like the all-in-one, I couldn't throw the
You can
massive
fit
skimmer
it.
on that, right?
Yeah.
So I think everyone out there that can afford it should listen to Cheryl and what Holly's saying
Have
and
extra
have extra. It's so smart. If you
just
can
a
do
backup
it,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to donate to my refractometer fund, just become a member of the channel. No big deal. No, I'm totally kidding,
Big
you guys.
3.
Chris Carey's out there. I see you saying
Yeah.
hope everyone had a good Christmas and a good New Year's. Not there yet to New Year's. My ass has to work. Sucks so bad.
Yeah.
But Holly will do something fun and come tell us, right?
I don't know. I'll probably be home. I mean, we don't really go out for New Year's. It's our anniversary. So sometimes we'll go to dinner, or something like that, but usually we stay home on New Year's most of the time.
Sometimes that's more fun when you stay home, right? When
Yeah.
it's wait. But anybody out there, we'd love to hear what you're doing for New Year's. And Holly, show us your video. I'm rambling,
Yeah,
going off
so
topic.
let
Sorry.
me put that up. So this
All
is
right.
when Sadie first saw her snow globe. So, oops, hit the wrong button. So she comes all the way across the tank to come and see it. So here we go.
All right.
So
Hold
yeah,
on.
so you can see this is where she's coming over to get that look at
What is this? Yes.
it. Yeah, yeah, she was
Love that
pretty.
she investigates it. I mean, she really
Yeah,
like, wait a minute, this is doing this. She looks like a scientist,
yeah.
like,
She's
love it.
like, okay, mom gave me something new. What is this now? So I'm gonna look. I have pictures also of Dandy. So
All right.
let me find that because he enjoyed his stuff right away too.
Chris, did you have a great holiday yourself, or how you doing? Ooh, the member stuff, Zen. Yeah, I need to do more with the member stuff. I still haven't gotten Holly her T-shirt.
That's
Anybody who
right.
does, because I mean, the only reason she doesn't have it, or anyone who's waiting on theirs, it's because the website's not done. I can get you your T-shirt. Tell me which one you want. I'll get it to you tomorrow. But Holly wants to be able to browse and maybe get her own Seahorse on it and such like that. But always contact me if you can't get anything that I promised, because I'll make it happen. I'm just I started, actually, sorry, Holly, to go off on a tangent,
Oh,
but
here we go.
I actually worked the past 2 days before I worked this awful shift at my work. I was working on the app that's going to be connected to the website. I can't. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I say things and then I don't get it done for a long time. But I can't wait. I think you guys are going to be so happy when I get this stuff done. All right, Holly, go ahead.
So this is Dandy, and I had a video of him with his reindeer, but I haven't uploaded it yet. I found out, so it's still on my phone and not on my Facebook. So
Gotcha.
this is I had I just put this in, and this is not the side of the tank where he usually sits, but he
Ah,
but he went right to it and curled around it right
right to
away.
it, curled
And
around
then
it.
on
He wanted
his
to.
side of
He
the
want.
tank,
Wait. He wanted to sit on Santa's lap. That's what
yeah,
it was.
yeah. And this isn't going to stay in the tank now because I actually gave it to them today. It's
Okay.
after Christmas. This was what was in their Christmas stocking, but I just wanted them to see their things, and then next week they'll get taken out and put away for next Christmas. Other than the snow globe's going to stay, and there's a snowflake that's going to stay for winter. But so anyway, he went to see this right away, and he could tell, oh, okay, it's my size. I can hitch around it. And then in his place, part of the tank where he does like to sit, I gave him a little reindeer statue that's about the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And he hitched to that right away and was eating his dinner hitched to that reindeer.
Aw.
Video of that, but I haven't uploaded it yet. So
Well, we'll have to make sure that you show it to us next week.
yeah.
Um, but I love that. Like sorry. Hi guys. Um, I love that they, like, you guys, if you want a natural seahorse tank, you don't have to do any of this, right? But I just love that Holly, like, her seahorses know when it's a
Yeah.
holiday or it's their birthday or
They
whatever,
still
because
have
they
their
get new
stuff.
stuff.
The stocking, yeah, on Christmas, see, I do a stocking for them.
Yeah,
So I
I
brought
love
the
it.
stocking over, at least Sadie and Dandy. Now the other ones in the tiki tank, they don't get as much attention because there's not seating right next to them. I
Okay,
have a couch next to the display tank, so I'm sitting right next to Dandy and Sadie whenever
right,
I'm sitting on the couch, so they see
right.
me and what I'm doing, whatever. So I brought their stocking to them to show them. So they got to see when I pulled their things out of the stocking I was showing, and they were checking them out
That's so funny.
because
That's
they
so
know
funny.
if I'm showing them something, they know there's a reason why. It's something for them.
Yeah,
So they're curious about it.
I love it. Again, guys, though, when you first get seahorses, they don't want
They're
anything to
more
do with
shy.
you.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
And the
They're not
ones,
gonna
like I
care.
said, in the tiki tank, they're not like that because they're not used to me spending that much time with them.
Right.
I come to feed them, I give them things, but there's not
that
a
connection.
lot of exchange between us, like there is with the display tank. A lot of the times I'm sitting next to them doing stuff during the day. So they're
Yeah.
watching me, they're seeing me and trying to interact, trying to get me to feed them or, whatever they're thinking. But, you know, that's that's
You're
just
kind of part of the scenery, right? You're part of their tank. You're part of their clan. Whereas the only point I'm trying to make is if you're someone who doesn't want any of that, you can totally have a seahorse tank where there's just you feed them and they're cool and that's it, right? I mean, you can do that. It's up to you if you want that connection. I've had tanks both ways, right? Just depends on the seahorses, depends on me. Um, and Chris, I'm so glad you're doing well. Can't wait to hear about the big changes coming next month. Hope you come
nice.
in here and tell us about them. Absolutely. And um, Shyla said, well, they got their signature
Saloon, the
saloon.
saloon wars she's talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
That
See,
yeah, those guys, yeah, they're fun. They're funny to watch. I think what it is with them is because there's more of them in that tank. They're more interested in each other,
then you,
maybe.
right.
But they, one thing I've
Wait, wait,
noticed about
wait, 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 wait.
they like stuff they can come in and out of or go to the other side through it.
Mhm. And
Like
and
the
aren't the
doors and
aren't
the shark are like that.
aren't the seahorses in the tiki tank younger? Those are
Not
the
really. They're my youngest, but you got to remember I had all the batches during the same time frame, about 8 weeks apart.
okay.
So they're the latest ones, but they're all now, all those seahorses are 3 years old going on 4. All of them except for Dandy, who's going to be 5 in February, beginning March. He's my oldest. Everybody else is 3 years old at this
Well,
point.
see, I do gotta say though, I don't know how seahorse years apply to human years, like dog years to human
Mhm.
years. But the thing is, look at our generations in humans. I mean, they're so freaking different.
Mhm.
So, you know, never know, but it might be age, but I
So
get what you're saying.
Aphrodite came from the teenies batch. So I think they were born in October, I believe, right? Is it October? I think.
I'm not good at tracking that.
I think it's October. Let me grab my little book. I believe their
Phone right
birthday
here.
is October. So, oh, here it is. So the teenies were born October 26th,
Okay.
and Sadie was born on July 17th because she was from my first batch. And then I had a batch in August in between. And
Hmm.
Scrappy Doo was the only survivor in that batch. And I
Right,
don't
right.
have him, he's passed away. So now I have Sadie born in July, and I have the teenies, which were born in October. And then Dandy will be 5 years old on March 1st,
That's so
roughly.
cool.
I mean, I'm just basing that on when I got him because you usually get them when they're about 5 or 6 months old. So his birthday's probably sometime in February or the beginning of March is my guess. So that's when I celebrate it though, is March 1st.
Well, and I'm smiling and such, but the thing is, I totally used to do that. I totally used to know when my batches were born,
Yeah.
when I got the seahorses. I think it's awesome when you keep track of that stuff. I just haven't had any batches. I mean, and just life, you know. But I think I wasn't trying to. I was
Yeah.
laughing because I
So
get
they
it.
were born in 2020. All the ones I raised, I see, over that summer.
Perfect timing, right? Because you were home.
Yeah, it was during COVID. It was when COVID happened, and yeah, it just kind of worked out.
Well, hopefully, things will work out in my tank, and we'll see some fry soon. and not more problems, right? Chris, I don't know if you watched earlier, but I lost a seahorse. Would love your thoughts, advice, etc., because it was very odd, very random, and now all the other seahorses are acting thrilled and frisky and more active. Very odd. Zen Ginger said, average life of a captive bred seahorse is 4 years, and humans are 76 years. So a year is about 19 to seahorse. A seahorse.
Okay,
That's
that way.
interesting. But where did you get that information that the average captive bred seahorse lives 4 years? I would really like to know because
I
I'm not
got that once when I Googled it. It says 4 to 7, I think, is what it
well.
said.
But the thing is, where are they getting that information? Because I personally know people that have kept captive bred seahorses for 14 years.
Hmm.
I haven't, you know, but I've kept them for, I think my big purplish black male lived to 12, 11, maybe 11. But I mean, they can live very long lives if you take care of them, right?
I
However,
got that from the breeders from Alyssa's Seahorse Savvy and I think Ocean Rider both have that
as four
on
years,
their website. 4 to 7, I think, is what they both
that's
have.
if you keep seahorses for 4 years, you're doing a great job. Let's say that. Let's leave it there because that's an accomplishment.
I'm gonna
Um,
Google it now just out of curiosity and see what it comes up with and where it gets it
Google.
from.
Oh, Zen said it said 3 to 5, and she averaged further. I like it. Um,
Yeah,
and
here's what it says first on Google. It says in captivity, lifespans for seahorse species range. But see, this doesn't say specifically captive bred. It says lifespans for seahorse species range from about 1 year in the smallest species to 3 to 5 years in the larger species. And that's Seahorse Fact Sheet from PBS, from a nature
well,
blog.
if Ray was here, he would say you got to be careful by trusting what you read online, right? Because
Listen,
I mean,
Seahorse
because
Savvy is part of the Google results, though, and that says our larger seahorse species, such as H. erectus, H. comes, and H. reedi, can be expected to live 4 to 7 plus years with proper care.
4 to 7 plus, right?
Hmm.
That's different than saying four. That's saying depends on how you take care of them. They can live 7 plus, right?
And that comes
So
up in the Google results, too.
say is Ray, if he was here, he would be saying you got to be careful. Listen to people that have kept them. See, Alyssa obviously has, but she's also selling them, right? So she's going to be careful and curtail it. I'm very disappointed that I lost my seahorse. I believe it's absolutely something I did or something genetic. It could be. I don't think it's anything parasitic or bacterial because the rest of the seahorses are happy and active and etc. But I feel like you should be able to keep seahorses longer than 4 years. That's my personal opinion. Um, if you keep them for longer than a year, you're doing well, right? And especially, I should mention too, it depends on the species. Because if you're talking about dwarves, they live shorter lives. I would also say, yay for all of us, right? Because if you go to some of the oh, I can't even remember the site now. um, Project Seahorse.
Hmm.
Project Seahorse, and I've had people from Project Seahorse on this channel. I have much respect for them and what they're doing for seahorses in the wild. They're doing amazing things, much respect. But on their website, their official Project Seahorse website, it says seahorses live 1 to 2 years. Because in the wild, they
Hmm.
don't last long. There's predators, there's
Stuff
all
eat
this stuff.
or they
So,
die.
yay
You
for
probably get
us.
stuck.
Yay for us that we're keeping them alive. So we're keeping captive bred seahorses alive so much longer, and
Now
many of
listen
them
to
breeding.
this. Here's a good one.
Wait. Let me finish real quick. So we're keeping seahorses alive for so much longer in the aquarium trade than they would be in the ocean, which is crazy to think about. But then also, if they breed, and any of us hobbyists that decide we're going to try to raise them, and then we feel bad, oh, I only kept 30 alive. And we've got Dan and Cheryl saying they kept 500 alive, 1,000 alive. But here's the thing, you know how many fry survive in the ocean?
Mhm.
The
Aren't
reason that they have so many
so
fry
many. Yeah.
in the ocean is because of predation, right? So many are gone within the day that we're doing a good thing for seahorses in the aquarium trade. Believe it or not, it's the truth. I'm telling you. Go ahead, Holly.
So this is from Seahorse.com, which is Ocean Riders website. And he says, for example, in my experience, cultured seahorses such as mustangs and sunbursts, which are Hippocampus erectus,
Yep,
have a life expectancy of 8 to 10 years in captivity if provided with good care.
yep,
But a lifespan of 4 to 6 years is more typical in the home aquarium. I
yep.
personally know of one old warhorse raised by a colleague of mine that reached the ripe old age of 7 years and 3 months. At the Ocean Rider facility, I believe some of their original brood stock are older still, 10 plus years old. But of course, the ideal conditions there are far different from the small closed system aquaria and artificial salt water we hobbyists must rely on.
For sure, for sure. Depends on
So,
how you, if you set up
saying,
properly. Yeah,
yeah, typical, they say, for at home, for us home aquarists is 4 to 6 years, but they can be longer apparently if you have better water quality, better conditions. So,
yep. If you set up properly, they will live, right? They will live a long time if you set up properly and take care of them. Is the bottom line. And Google is Google, and every site's different.
yeah.
When my site's up, people will quote the site, and it is what it is, right?
Well, it's nice that it showed different ones. It came up with a lot of different sources.
Absolutely, absolutely. Metadata, awesome. But I'm just saying, we're doing better. They're doing better in our tanks. Okay, that's not the way I want to say it. So we don't want to take seahorses from the wild. I don't, I personally don't want to take seahorses from the wild because then quarantining them, treating them, getting them ready for an aquarium would be a difficult job. Those seahorses from the wild likely wouldn't last that long in an aquarium. But
Mhm.
when these very experienced breeders do that and they know how to do that, and then they sell captive bred seahorses to us, and as hobbyists, we come to Wine Wednesday and we discuss and figure out how to set up a tank to keep seahorses very healthily in an
Mhm.
aquarium. And we admit our mistakes. And when something goes wrong, like I've done tonight, then we learn from each other and we figure out how to set up our tank. And our seahorses, captive bred seahorses, can live a really long time. I mean, even
Mhm.
4 years. Come on, man, that's really good.
Mhm.
Most seahorses in the ocean will not live that long.
Yeah.
And they can live. I personally know someone who kept a seahorse for 14 years, which
Mhm.
don't expect that, guys. It's not likely, but
Yeah, that's not
it,
the norm, but it can happen.
right. It can happen. So I'm just saying, we're doing good stuff. Um, Then Ginger set pointed out, and I do want to say that for disclosure, not dwarves. Dwarves have a life expectancy of 1 to 2 years in captivity. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. No, I always expect you to do the math, Zen Ginger. I want the and sharp. No. No,
That
and
reminds me though, and I
I was
bet it's the
no,
same for
wait.
seahorses.
Real quick. I was trying to be Ray, right? Because if Ray
Uh-huh.
was here, he would be saying, "You can't believe everything you hear online." Ray, I'm not mocking you. I love you, and I'm trying to sound like you. But anyways, he would be saying, "Don't trust everything you read online," right? That's all. Go on,
Yeah.
Holly.
So I was just, it's funny, when Zen Ginger is talking about the math, it's kind of funny. And I was going to say, I think seahorses are probably the same way, but I remember reading an article about dogs because they always compare, dog years to human years, right?
Hmm.
But, but they don't go an even amount of years. Like they'll age more or less within each year of their age than we would. So you can't actually say, even for a dog, like a dog of 2 years old is equivalent to 14 human years because each year is different in the advancing of their aging. They don't age the same way. Like some years they'll age slower and some years
Oh, well,
faster.
just
So
like us.
they'll
I'm
grow
aging
up.
more than I'm now that I'm over 40,
Right?
right?
So
Like
they'll
once
grow
you're
up faster. Like
yeah.
the first year of a seahorse's life might be 20 of our years, but then the next year when they're two, they're not like 40, they're only like 25. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same every year.
Well,
And that's
and
how
that's the
dogs are. I was reading a science article about that, and when Zen Ginger was talking about doing the math, it just reminded me of reading that.
she said, yeah, it's like the first 2 years are 7 to a dog, and then the next 2 years are more like 5 and so on, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's not good to put numbers on stuff anyways, right? Because you can't. And like all the science and all, set up right for seahorses and they'll live a very long time. Let's leave it there, right? I mean, it
Yeah. An
yeah,
old age for them.
right. And I hate when you start trying to do the math, and I'm sorry if I was pushing that, but yeah, because then you're trying to feel bad if the seahorse only lived to 4. That's awesome. I mean, that's in my opinion,
Yeah.
better than they would have done in the wild. And,
Mhm.
as a captive bred seahorse. And it shows you're doing something right because many people can't keep them past a year, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, good job. It doesn't matter how long they're supposed to live. It matters setting up right and then keeping them for as long as
Yeah,
as they're
just
going to
give
live.
them a good life for the lifespan
Yeah.
that they have, whatever that happens to be.
Well, and that's what's really hard if you want to be real about it. You can say the life expectancy for women is this or men
Mhm.
is this. So if someone passes earlier or later, what
Mhm.
does that even mean? I mean,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Maybe they
Yeah.
had stuff going, heart failure or
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe they ate spinach their entire life and were Popeye. I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
that's why they say it's an average.
yes,
Average
I know.
means not everybody. Not it
Yeah.
like when we say an average lifespan for a seahorse, yeah, not all of them are going to live to that. Some are going to be less, some are going to be more, and it's all going to average out.
But I just want to be absolutely clear, Zen, when you do come on the show and you've gotten the tank and you're setting it up, there absolutely will be a quiz. And the average age of seahorse will be on it. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Oh,
To,
bedtime. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta run and turn off the light on that bubbler. Because remember, I told you the snow globe has a light in it with a
oh, Lord.
separate switch to turn it on and off. So those seahorses have gone to bed, but their snow globe is in there
It's still
glowing.
going. Gotcha.
I'll be
Gotcha.
right back.
All right. And when she does come back, guys, we are gonna have to cut it. Like I said, I have to work at 5 a.m. I told you guys we were cutting it at 9:30, and then I get to rambling, and here we are at 10. It's okay. Love you guys. Love talking to you. Love talking to Holly and seeing you guys' comments and just being with you guys. But I'm exhausted. I'm sure you can see that on me. But either way, if you have any other seahorse questions, saltwater questions, period, about the weather, speak now or forever hold your peace, because I'm going to end it when she comes back. And no, courses is amazing, and learning as you go is amazing. Setting up properly matters. But yeah, no quizzes, no math. I don't that that's the struggle that I'm really truly having. One of the struggles that I'm having with the website and such is people want articles. I remember talking with Dan a long time ago about setting up an article that literally listed, this is the med kit that you should have for seahorses. This is the medicine you should have on hand for seahorses. And he was like, you can't make that, because you just don't know. I mean, with seahorses, you just don't know what's going to happen, and you might need nothing. And trying to make people buy 50 million things just in case is kind of crazy. I do think it depends on the kind of person you are, right? Like, for instance, me, my skimmer craps out, I'm in trouble because I don't have a spare in the bedroom. Cheryl and Holly have a spare in the bedroom. I'm going to tell you
Watch
up front.
Kimber.
I'm going to tell you up front, you're smart if you have a spare in the bedroom, right? You should always get two of everything. I sometimes couldn't afford it, sometimes just didn't think of it, whatever. But that's, just depends on who you are. Whoever you are, if you come to Wine Wednesday and you have a problem, we're going to help you figure it out. There's the end of the story. All right. Did you go ahead,
Well,
Holly?
well, good thing I went in there to turn off that light because their regular light was on full
Oh,
blast because the power went out a couple times today. And when the power goes out, it screws up the lights programming. And
yeah.
I had set it back, but I programmed the time in wrong. I had programmed a morning time instead of a nighttime.
AM
So
versus PM.
it thought it was like 6 in the morning, not 6 at night. So
Gotcha.
I had to advance it to PM. I'm like, "Oh, sorry guys." So it's all blaring bright light in there. Poor
You know
seahorse.
what? I've noticed that too in both the 65 and the all-in-one. I'm curious. We'll talk about this next week. But I'm curious, like, what plan you have for lighting when your power goes out. Because as Holly just said, it's messed her up. It's messed me up multiple times. Where I'll wake up and realize, oh my God, in this all-in-one 40-gallon tank, this very, too bright light
Oh, there's
has been
probably
on all night because something happened, the electricity went
electrical
out or something.
power, yeah.
And then we get the algae problems, and then we get all this. And I wonder what you guys have all done to handle that kind of situation, because I'm not sure what to do
I
about that.
also have in my situation on the display tank, I have the two pumps. I have the one in the sump and I have their quick filter are both plugged in to something I control with a remote so that
Oh
I
yeah,
can
that's good.
turn them on and off for feeding. Now, when the power goes out and comes back on, they don't come back on. I have to go to the
Mm.
remote and turn them on.
Oh shit.
So I have to remember to do that whenever
Well,
the
does
power
wait,
clicks on and off.
does the app notify you?
No, I just have to know about I know it does that. So,
Okay, so I can say that the bottom line answer is,
mhm.
if you have any monitoring system, the Neptune, Apex, any of
You're
those are really amazing. And if you have one of those, it will alert you on your phone. let you know when something's going on. It's a really good move. Um,
Mhm.
in my case, I want to get one of the Neptune or one of the reps to come in here and talk to us some more, because in my case, right now I only have 2 tanks, but in the past I had 10 tanks, and I didn't know or think that one system could handle multiple tanks, right? And
Mhm.
they're pretty expensive. I think it's a good idea to buy if you have a reef tank or a
Mhm.
seahorse tank or whatever. But with 10, I was like, which one would I even put it on, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to know more about if it can handle multiple tanks and all that. But yeah, I mean, it does become a problem. So those systems are really a good move if you can afford them, because I've had multiple times where, I mean, you don't get any notification if an auto top off screws up, or your pump stops working. Or in my case, I've woken up and the light's been on all night long, just blaring at them when they're supposed to be sleeping. It's yeah. The programming systems are very good. If you can afford it, get one. But
Mhm.
I don't know what to say otherwise. I mean, just, you got to be on top of it.
Yeah,
What do you
I
think?
just know, yeah, on that tank, and that's not the same as in the tiki tank. I have to physically unplug the pumps to turn them off,
I do
right,
too in the
for
all-in-one.
feeding or
Yeah.
whatever. So if there's a power thing, if the power goes out and comes back on, those pumps come back on.
Right.
On my
Right.
other tank, they do not. I have to go get the remote and switch the thing back on. So I have to remember on that tank. Now, if I'm not home and the power goes out,
Ooh.
I get notifications from PG&E. It texts my phone, there's a power outage. So I'll know the
Right.
power is out, but then
Right.
I would have to come back home to turn everything,
So
back
what you're
on and
saying is
generate.
in wait, so what you're saying is without a controlling system,
Mhm.
um, basically using the more electronic pumps is a nuisance for you if there's a power outage. Because I know what you're saying.
Mhm.
In my all-in-one,
Mhm.
everything's plug-in. It's not they're in my 65
Mhm.
gallon. I have like Jabeo pumps that have the feed button. I have
Mhm.
I had the Gyri in the 90 gallon,
Mhm.
all these buttons and all this electronic stuff. But in my all-in-one, everything's plug-in. So
Mhm.
again, like Holly said, if the power goes out, the all-in-one comes back
It
on,
just comes
bottom
on.
line. But with those more controlled systems, you got to control it, right?
And the
I
thing
mean,
is, it might see, and mine's not an aquarium controller. It's one of those things you get at the hardware store, a splitter that you just plug in, like you use for the
oh,
Christmas tree.
gotcha.
And that's why it's like that, because it's not an actual aquarium thing. It's,
Gotcha.
one of those little boxes like you use for Christmas lights or whatever, where
Yes.
you can
Yep.
turn them on and off. So I used that to put my pumps on so that when I feed them, I turn off all the pumps in that tank.
I gotcha. I
And in
gotcha.
the and in this tank, I used to leave pumps on while I was feeding because I was doing broadcast feeding.
Yep. Yep.
But now I turn the pumps off because they don't eat in the water column anyway. They want to eat when it comes down to the bottom. So now I just unplug everything and let them eat, and then
Yep.
plug a pump back in for the last 5 or 10 minutes to get stuff moving around. Last call,
Yep.
and then I
Last
siphon
call.
it out. It's like last call, and it's funny
Well,
too in the display tank. The Dandy and Sadie. It's funny because I can always tell when they're done eating. They stop and they lose interest.
yep.
Pretty much they start to go do other things. Okay, breakfast is over. I'm going to siphon. So I go get the siphon. And Sadie is funny when she sees that siphon coming. That's like her last call signal. She'll come running or swimming back to the dish but it's like
I'm
she
not
wants
done.
to save it for later because she still won't eat it. But she'll sit
Like,
there and she'll act like she's interested in it. Like she'll stick her head down
Mom,
and look at me like,
back up.
"Don't take away the food. Don't. I might want this later."
Let this back up, Mom. Yep, I get
Yeah,
it. I get
they're
it.
funny.
But no, that was really interesting though. So it depends on your seahorses, how they
Mhm,
eat. It depends on your system, how you've got
mhm.
it set up. So and again, that's what's so hard about writing articles and making like these this is how you do it sheets because there's
Can
so
be
many
different.
different
Yeah,
ways. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
still working on it, guys. But
But just know
anyways,
that they'll learn. I mean, if you decide on a way you want to do things, they'll learn your way. They'll if you want to use a dish, you can train them to use a dish. If you want a broadcast feed, they'll learn. They'll follow you. You just have to be persistent, just like you're training a dog. It's the
yep.
same thing. It's just persistency is key.
Well, and what I'm excited for, really excited, is when Zen really seriously I
Mhm.
have the tank. It's sitting here. Now let's start setting it
Yeah,
up. Zen, I want you to come in and have a discussion with us at every step of the way
yeah,
because this would be so good for other people and hopefully for you. But like where Holly will say, well,
mhm,
just do it this way. And Rel will be like, no.
mhm,
And then we can discuss it and like find what's best for you, what you want, because
mhm,
there are so many different answers. So I think that'll be really fun and interesting. And since we all love each other, we won't, like get in
mhm.
a duel or anything. But yeah, the plan is February. I
That is
can't wait.
February. Yeah, for
I
my
can't wait.
birthday. My
That's
birthday's
right.
in February.
There we go. Um, but you guys tonight, I said 9:30. It's 10:08. I'm gonna have to close it down. I'm sorry. I have to work.
Oh yeah.
Um, but what a fun night. This has been so fun talking with you guys.
Mhm.
Um, again, sometimes me and Holly will start chatting. Don't forget, you can ask any questions, even if you're new to the channel, in the comment section, or even if you watch this after we're live. If you watch this on Friday instead of Wednesday, if you
Mhm.
put a comment in the comment section, I'll still see it, and I'll either answer it or I'll bring it up next week. So don't be afraid to do that. We're here for the community. That's the point. We like to drink wine and chat, but we're here for the community too. Um, but for tonight, we are going to close it down. Thank you, Holly, for sharing so much tonight. And we'll discuss my seahorse dilemma next week a little bit further. So we'll get to the bottom of it. Can't wait for February, Zen Ginger. But for tonight, Holly, let's say a cheers, toast to Wine Wednesday, and get to bed. That's what I need to do.
Almost
Happy
empty.
Wine Wednesday, everybody.